So in 2024, I had made a video talking about being a black kid and growing up in a predominantly white school. I will definitely leave that video linked up in the cards for you guys, so you guys can definitely check that video out. But since this month is Black History Month, happy Black History Month to all my black people out there. I wanted to make a video about how black media is important. So it's kind of like a little bit of a spin-off from the predominantly white school video. Hey guys, it's Xblizandria X and welcome back to the channel. And like I said, happy Black History Month to all my black people out there. In today's video, I'm talking about black media is important. The reason why I want to talk about it is coming from a kid who grew up in a predominantly white school and predominantly white area. I really want to set focus on why black media is definitely important, especially for a growing black child, little black girl, little black boy, for a growing black kid. In that video, I'm just going to kind of give a brief rundown. I started going to my predominantly white school in the 3rd grade. I started my 3rd grade year at that school, and I've been going to predominantly white school until I graduated high school. It was just a huge culture shock for me because prior to going to a predominantly white school, I went to a predominantly black school, and before that I had went to a multicultural elementary school. So it was just a huge culture shock to see nobody but 3 other black kids in the class plus me, which made 4, and then have a racist 3rd grade teacher. It was just insanity. Sorry if y'all hear background noise. In the 3rd grade, I remember I had asked my 3rd grade teacher if we did anything dealing with Black History Month, because Black History Month was such a big deal at my predominantly black school and even my multicultural school, that it was such a big deal that I wanted to know if this new elementary school I was in made Black History Month a big deal. But then she told me very meanly and kind of rude, "We don't do that here." And then she just dismissed me back to my seat because I had asked her that. And I think from that day forward, I wanted to make sure that I was including myself in black media. It's very important, no matter the media, if it's, well, some black media is problematic, but still indulging in some kind of black media, especially at a young age, helps a kid, especially like me, who didn't have many black people around. I remember the first thing that helped me introduce was reading a lot of black books or black history books. I remember over the summer, for going to the 4th grade, I remember we had to read over the summer and stuff like that, and I hated reading. But as I look back on it, it's such a blessing because it didn't need to be any particular book as long as it was a book. And I remember we had to read Black History fact cards. My mom had brought African American like flashcards or like history cards. They were like this big, I want to say, and it was front and back. And then my dad would sit us down and we would have to read those black history facts and make sure that we learned everything within those black history facts. And as a kid, I hated reading. As a kid, trust me, I hated reading, but the fact that I was absorbing black media was also really important. And I remember when the book fair came around, especially in 4th grade and like from here on out, I would start to get black books that had black little girls on it or anybody with black people on it. I wanted to get those books, but sometimes some of the books would be out of the budget range, so I couldn't, like, I probably had only went to the book fair with $10 and couldn't even get them. But I do have 2 books that I want to show y'all today. I'll discuss those books a little later toward the end of the video, but I had bought books from the book fair that just had anything dealing with black people, black kids, just anything. And even in the library when we had to read books and stuff like that, because we had AR reading and all that stuff. I don't know if your school did that, but I will say the only books I would really get were Diary of a Wimpy Kid books and any books that had black people on the front of it, a black character, or at least a black lead within the book. Because even as a young kid, I knew the underrepresentation that was in my school, in my area, didn't have a lot of black people around. So I think I self-taught myself to absorb black media because black media is important. As someone who isn't black can't truly understand why black media is important. It's important for black kids to see themselves in certain storylines, especially positive storylines, because the media in the past has always portrayed black people to be bad people, not good people. We're robbing people, we're pew pew, if you know what I mean. I don't want to get copyrighted or whatever because of YouTube, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's just those things that happens in the media. So it was like trying to learn other positive media outside of course, Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr., just reading other Black history facts with everything with the sit-in in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is actually crazy because I am from North Carolina. It's important to just know that history and know your facts and how our people, we came from slavery, we came from Jim Crow, we came from segregation, and even our names from, you know, from Black, African American, Negro, all those things is really important for a kid, especially a Black kid, to know where they come from. And of course, if you go to a predominantly white school, you're not going to learn those history facts about you because the school technically is not catered to you. It is catered to white kids. So you will not learn about Black history at all. You'll learn about American history, and Black history is American history. Black history is American history. Let's get that straight. But they're gonna not talk about Black history and mentioning it as American history because this country was built on our backs. So let's be honest. As well, with the natural hair movement happening in, I want to say, like, the natural hair movement was very popular in the 2010s, but I feel like especially between like 2015 to 2018 was definitely that time when the natural hair movement happened. And of course, I mentioned some of this stuff in my growing up in a predominantly white school video, but like I said, I'm just going to leave a little tidbit of it in this video. But it was just sometimes embarrassing when you grew up in a predominantly white school, you got your crochets or box braids, and one of your braids fall out your hair, and now everybody is making fun of you. That has to be one of the most traumatic experience any especially a little Black girl can ever go through, is seeing your braid on the floor and everybody is making fun of you or saying, oh my gosh, it's a snake, and laughing at you. Trust me, it is an experience that is so embarrassing and it's traumatizing, but it changes the way you view your hair as a Black person, as a Black girl. It shapes the way you view your hair. So for some time, I actually did not like my hair, did not like my natural hair, but I want to just say thank God for YouTube in 2017, because this is when I started watching natural hair influencers and just people who had hair similar to me, or at least had texture to their hair. Even like in 2017, I was watching Jasmine Brown, and even though we don't share the same hair type, just someone who has textured hair was just like, it was nice to know. Also, as other creators as well, the creator I really enjoyed the most was I Am Treya. Those natural hair horror stories carried me through 2017 and 2018. Like, they carried me so much. Oh my gosh, that channel did so much for me back in the day. Even like watching creators like Casey Alea, Hazel Goddess, aka Celia, and just watching other people who had hair like me, Chizzy Duru, like, what, are you kidding me? Like, just watching Black women who had hair similar to me or like me was super important in shaping my mindset and the way I viewed my hair. So YouTube back in 2017, especially natural hair influencing YouTube, black YouTube back then was just such a pivotal moment for me in loving my hair and the hair that grows out of my scalp. It was, like I said, it's such an important pivotal moment and it is Black media. That is Black media, and that Black media was really, really important for me in my senior year of high school in 2022. I'm class of 2022, but we held our first Black history event ever in my school. That high school had been open since 2010, and at that point, up to that point, it had been 12 years and there was nothing going on with Black History Month. And I want to say that event I am just so proud of, because we had some bumps in the roads, you know, but that's with like every huge event that you put on. There was some bumps, there was some confusion, there was some craziness, there was some laughs. It was such a beautiful amalgamation of just Black kids coming together, the Black students coming together and just doing this for our heritage. It was important, and it's super duper important, honestly.
If I stop being the light, I couldn't if I wanted. They gonna beat me by the.
So now I want to talk about the stuff that I saw or did growing up as well. Also with black media and televisions, black TV shows are very important, and I feel like in the late 2000s to the 2010s we kind of like had lost the black media. And I know that growing up, I know a black show that I heavily watched a lot was Hanging with Mr. Cooper. The reason they played reruns for Hanging with Mr. Cooper on Nickelodeon a lot of the times, and I just, especially in the morning, because when I was a kid I used to get up like so early in the morning. I used to get up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and every time Hanging with Mr. Cooper was on, also like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, just watching like those black 90s sitcom shows, because black entertainment is also important as well, because in other media like white media, they don't really pertain to black people, or you might have the one-off black character or that one black character to deem the cast as diverse, when it's just adding one black person to the cast is very important for that. So I watched a lot of Hanging with Mr. Cooper, a good amount of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and just other black shows, dibbled and dabbled here and there. I really enjoyed a lot of black movies, so it really touched me when Disney had came out with Let It Shine, especially with the storyline of like Coco Jones with her character Roxy. Y'all don't know, my first concert was Coco Jones. I enjoyed like watching Let It Shine, and just seeing a black girl lead in a movie and having a all black cast was so touching to me as a kid, because that movie came out in 2012, and I don't know if I was 7 or 8 years old, but in 2012 I had turned 8, but like the first half I was 7, but I can't remember when that movie came out. I know it came out in 2012, so I was 7, 8 years old at the time. So just seeing black media like that, especially on a platform like Disney Channel, and having a dark-skinned girl be the lead, like that was just, it was such a huge deal for me, and it touched me oh so much, especially as a kid. Just seeing a black girl being represented was very important to me. And with the black books that I talked about, I feel like I've read a lot of like black books that just had black boys or black girls on the front of it, but I want to talk about the 2 books that I got from the book fair, and probably in the thumbnail of this video. So these are the 2 books that I got when I was a kid. So this is I think I got Kizzy Ann Stamps in the 4th grade, and then I got Sugar in the 5th grade, because as a kid, well, like I have ADHD, so it was like hard for me to read chapter books like these growing up, simply because, like I said, I didn't like to read, and also my focus just would not be there for books like these. But I recently actually read these books last year, because I was like, I barely read these books as a kid, but just knew that black media was super duper important, so that's why I picked these up. So with Kizzy Ann Stamps is, I'm just gonna read the synopsis on the back of the books for you guys, but trust me, please go read these books. But the thing with Kizzy Ann Stamps is by Jerry Watts, and even though the black girl is the center of the story, this story was actually written by a white woman. I did not know that until like doing research for the book last year, and it's literally written by a white woman. So I was like, and the story is so good. So Kizzy Ann Stamps is starting at a new school, the just integrated public school, and she's worried that the white students won't like her, and she's worried they'll stare at the scar that runs from the tip of her right eye to the corner of her smile. The scar a neighbor boy gave her in a farming accident. But now this same boy won't stop following Kizzy and Shag, her beloved border collie, everywhere they go, even when they're practicing for an upcoming herding competition. And though Kizzy and Shag have been training hard, Kizzy and her coach aren't sure they'll even let her, a black girl, enter the competition. In this tender and often humorous debut novel, Kizzy Ann discovers that almost everyone has scars to bear, and that with a dog at your side, you can find the courage to find them head on. And here's the thing about me, y'all. I'm not a huge animal person. Like, I just genuinely don't, I'm not really an animal person. I just genuinely don't really like animals like that, because we didn't have any growing up, because my mom always called them second children. So she was like, I'm not getting a pet. So reading about a black girl and her dog growing up was just touching to me as well. And then with Sugar, but out of these 2 books, I like Sugar because sometimes freedom doesn't feel so free. 10-year-old Sugar lives on a plantation along the Mississippi River. Slavery is over, but grueling work in the sugarcane fields sure can break a girl's spirit. Thankfully, Sugar has a knack for finding her own fun, especially with forbidden friend Billy, the white plantation owner's son. Sugar has always yearned to learn more about the world, and she sees her chance when Chinese workers are brought in to help harvest the cane. The older plantation folks are wary, but Sugar is fascinated. She befriends young Bo and elder Master Lu, who teaches her all about their tradition as she, in turn, helps them learn the ways of plantation life. Sugar soon realizes that she must be the one to bridge these two communities together. Here is the story of unlikely friendship and how they can change our lives forever. And out of the two books, this book is cute, but it's just something about Sugar that I love so much. This book is written by a black woman. This book is written by Joelle Parker Rhodes, author of the Coretta Scott King Honor Book, Ninth Ward. That's what it says on the front of the book here. And you can see my name. I wrote in this one. Look at my little handwriting. And trust me, even though these books are meant for like the ages of like 8 to 11, still buy these books because they're just so, like, this one is so much fun to read, but this one just has such a powerful story, honestly, and I really wouldn't trade this book. Like, I will be having these books for the rest of my life because they mean so much to me, especially as a little black girl growing up in a predominantly white school and having underrepresentation of black media. So these books are like forever in my heart, and they mean so much to me. Even as a kid, I didn't read them because of my attention span. As an adult, like I said, things have regulated a lot better for me as an adult. So reading them now, it just touched my soul that at a young age, at 9-10 years old, I was able to recognize something that was lacking in my life, and that was black media, because it just was not there. So thank you guys for watching this video. Once again, happy Black History Month. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe, and I hope that y'all have a great day. Bye.